Hello, 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 everybody. I'm. You may call me Oswald, and I'm back again. Full days. Now then, today, simple-ish. Uh, Simple-ish idea. I want to create a type chart. So, close everything. Actually, right. I just link. Create script cr_types. And do. Types, and then it'll be Now, this is kind of a list of creature types I have set up myself. So, all right. Type name will be it's. All right. Creature type. I'm scuffing this up. Going to be light type, and then it will be name light, and then and that should be the format, I think, because we can do just a bunch of these over and over again. And then as needed, we can just copy, paste, so we'll have arc, d2, using global dot fire type. Wait, I just need to copy and paste. Oh, I think I have my noise gate set up properly. But I did hear roommate waltzing around. You might hear, if you hear anything, you're most likely going to hear his dog, who is a very loud boy. Very good dog, but he is a little loud. A little bit of a brat is what he is, actually. Love him to pieces, but not even my dog, but he really enjoys barking. Yeah. Water. Ice. Something named Ice. Poison. I have it open on a different window, a whole type chart I've created. So my goal is to get the whole type chart in an index of all the types and their effectivenesses, which are subject to change. Kind of just went on vibes. What I was putting them in. So, no promises. The first type chart will be balance. And that some types will be subject to change. Also possibly name changes. There's a few of them I'm not a fan of, but I haven't thought of a good name. But I like the concept. The original idea I had was a little more esoteric. This won't come up. But when I was first drafting my idea for a game, one of the things I did was actually I used like a geometric construct for the type chart. So like it's a bit hard to describe, but you had like increasing complexity as the chart went on. Like so it was kind of like a rose, like a mathematical symbol, like kind of like a compass rose, but it's slightly different. And it used a little bit of math to create this. What I thought was like a cool shape, and it kind of worked out like that. You had a lot of types with it. Problem is, you had a lot of types with it. I'm already putting in a lot of types. As it is. So it's like, it was going to be a lot more. It was going to be 32 of them. And I decided to reject that and pare it down. Because it's like, the problem is with like 32, you started, like here you already run into some where you're like, that's kind of weird. I'm not quite sure how all that works. But I think with my notes, I've got descriptions for each type. They have functions and they kind of make sense. But in my original draft, you had a few that were definitely overlapping. Which was not. And then. Which is not optimal. I don't know if I will end up using the neutral type. So this is going to be the types we're going to use, and then we're going to have After that, we're going to create a new function. I gotta look this up though to double check I understand. Declare a new function. Do-do. I'm trying to make what the thing I'm trying to make is because it's going to be just a simple effectiveness chart. Yeah. Oop, that's not what I want. Mm-hmm. Custom function to maker. Make an array of structs. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Hmm. Alright, I suppose I should have done a little bit more reading beforehand. But I suppose, let me double check, make sure this isn't gonna reveal anything. I'll just snipping tool. I will take a snippet. So this is what I'm theoretically trying to import. This silly type chart. The left is the attacker, the right is the defender. That I made in Excel spreadsheet because I'm a professional. None of that is going to be coherent, probably. Well, I presume we're gonna, yeah, it's an array, I think will be. Overview. If, else, unconditional. Arrays. We'll do function type. That's AV. And then, yeah, the wait, statement. Pull that back up. So what I think I can do is basically, I need a, yeah, bracket. What I can do is switch A bracket, then a closed bracket, switch A, and it'll be ace. 1. That would be for light. So you'd basically we're doing 2 switches within each other. That's a good idea. Oh, I do need the colon. So we'll do switch E. And it will be case 1. Wait, defining custom functions. I need to make sure I know how script function. So return. I see. So I can do case 1. That'd be case 1. Turn. Let me pull up my. Let me pull up my effectiveness chart. So it'd be case 1, that'd be light versus light. Return 1. Break. Semicolon. So that should be semicolon, I think. Now, I think this. One switch have I need the default. No. If I try to run, what happens? Oh, okay. Yeah. ID expected. Oh, crumb. I forgot all my commas, didn't I? Feature stats. Yeah. Hey. Oh, oops. None. Nope. Could be commas. Oh, that's a lot of commas. From. Comma. comma, 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 comma. Comma. Now then, let's see what happens when I hit play now. Oh, delightfully devilish. Enter, fight, and run. So, it's working, I think. I think, not to be too optimistic, I think this is the first time I've had code just... I mean, the other part didn't, because I forgot the comma, but this part right here, I think, is the first time I've had it just work. So case 2, light is effective. It's dark, and then just case 3, 0.5. Case 4, return. X effectiveness. Case 5. 0. Case 6, we return 1. 7, we return 1. Case 8, we return 2. Case 9, we return 5. Case 10, we return 11, which 1, 12, turn 2, 1, case 4, turn 2, excuse me, case 15, turn 16, return 17, 0, 18, return 19, case 21, which will be the default. We'll just return. So that should mean that for every time it's case 1 here, it will check the B variable, which means yes. What we can do is we can just do that. And then duplicate. Oh yeah, duplicate. But cool. So case 2 would be case 1, so that'll be return 2, return 1, 5, yes, return 1, and 1. Case 6 is 1. 7 is 2. 5.5. 1. 2. Wait, no. Oops. Okay, now I need to. I need a number by each one of them. That's the one problem. I probably should. Cause there's probably a way to define it where it would have. It would have, you know, the names but I can't think of that off the top of my head. So I am. There we go. So 1 dark, 2, case 3, case 4. Wait a minute. Case 3, case 4, case 5, case 6, case 7 should return. Zero 0.5, case 8, 0.5, case 9, 0.5, case 10 is 1, case 11 is 1, case 12 is 0.5, case 13 is 2, case 14 is 1, case 15 is 1, case 16 is 0, case 1. And so, yeah, in case it isn't obvious, this is going to be a little tedious, but I wanted to be able to show everything. Case 3. So yeah, it's literally a type chart, very complicated type chart. You can imagine how bad this would have been if I still had 32 of them versus the 20 I have for each one. Plus the neutral. I'm adding in a neutral type because I presume that when I get around to around to it, that it will be a little important to have the option of being able to have like the ability to do just damage without having to worry about type. And it's probably not something. It might even be that there's just I'll have it'll be easy enough to have a method to just not check as well. But the way I figure it, it can't help or it can't hurt to have something. 16. So, fire, but are just case 4. Realize something. Yeah. Two 1.5. Okay, yeah, I think it's fine. I'm hoping I don't have too many errors. That'll be interesting to see, if I get any errors or so on. But yeah, I feel like I'm 1 air doesn't affect darkness at all. Not strong against fire. It's neutral. is effective against water. Neutral to ice. Poison. Yeah. I am air. And one thing is, this is, as I said, it's going to be very subject to change. Because I don't think it's balanced at all. I literally just like sketched out a rough draft when I had some downtime at work, just like on a note piece of paper, and then I took that paper and I have interpreted it as follows. And theoretically, there's some logic behind everything. But I also did kind of put a vague idea of balance. Oh, I should probably Earth. Oh, that's a good idea. I need to do that. Ace 1. So then that should do. That's from a couple, which will probably have it twice, right? Yeah. Case 2 will be art. Oops. Case 2 will be dark. Probably just broke everything. Now then, case 3. Dash. Fire. Case 4. Yeah, I need to remember to do comments. It's very important. Case 5 dash Earth. Case 6. Case 6 is going to be water. And then 7 with case 7. Ice. Case 8. 8. That should poison, I think. Right. Poison. Electric, I think. And the order is itself not indicative of anything. It's kind of in the order I thought of them. I think with the exception of a couple, because they did move, like the plant and fungus are next to each other. Because plant, fungus, bug, beast all kind of have the same. They're a category of what living thing we're dealing with here. I kind of like want them together, and obviously the elemental types at the beginning, as are just like the light and darker at the beginning, and some of that too is a fragment of what I was talking about, the original idea of like 32 types and using geometry as the sort of nature of the beast. I you know, some of them, they were going to be related, right? Like, obviously. So, like, you had light and dark, and then, like, fire was related to light, and then, I don't remember what came next. I think what came next I cut, actually. But, you know, or, like, you know, water and earth had relation to dark, and, you know, and so, like, and then, you know, like, water relates to ice, and, earth relates to spirit, among other things, and obviously each one is slightly different. Or earth was also like related to crystal and metal and so forth, and but it was like a diverging. The idea of it was kind of diverging, right? So I don't know how much of this is going to make it into like the final game, but I kind of developed a weird lore concept, and I won't go into it too far. I'm hesitant to talk too much about like my actual game design so far, because so much of it I think is still subject to change. But anyway, the idea, right, is that at least the theoretical idea is that everything kind of stems from power sources, and the types are kind of like Pokemon. I don't remember all of the explanation given for Pokemon. Do we skip case 4? Air? We skipped case 4. Let us collapse you. Yeah. So a lot of the concept idea, you know, like, I think in Pokemon the types are elemental energies pulled from somewhere else, or something like that. I don't remember specifics. Pokemon lore is also, I know, a little wishy-washy. No pun intended, because that's a Pokemon. Yeah, I skipped air. So no pun intended, I think. Oh, wait a minute. It's Earth? No, Earth looks like it's just screwed up. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and fix Earth. Or is Earth all gonna be light? And I wasn't paying attention. Okay, no. So case 4, delete here. This is... This is case 4. So 1.5. 112, correct? Next ones will be 111, yes. And then 222, yes. Beast 3.5s. Yep. 2. Yep. And psychic is and sound. Sound, psychic, synth. Yep. Okay. There we go. Yeah. So I guess I just screwed up and let's double check, make sure there's no good. So then we can. I hope the other ones are good. I'll double check it at some point. I don't know if I should. Occasionally probably go back through and double check things outside of what I'm working on, or like, you know how it is when I'm not working on it, just for safety. Unreachable. Why are you unreachable? What does that mean? What happens if I just real quick at the bottom? Break any, so that doesn't have an unreachable condition. I don't like that having unreachable code. Unreachable code. Nope. Well, that's not unreachable though. Maybe I just don't need those breaks. Launch? Does it launch? Oh, right, duplicate, right. Well, when I finish writing all this out, we will have to see what happens. Because if it's truly unreachable, that's not going to be good. But then again, it also doesn't look like it's going to affect anything. So I have no idea what that means. Since air, this will be Earth. I forgot what I was talking about earlier. Anyway, I was talking about lore, I think. Yeah. General gist is I have lore set aside in Pokemon. I know it kind of handles lore a little awkwardly. They're kind of wishy-washy up in the air of things. Because they used to have like that weird esoteric Pokemon chart, right? You remember? Anybody remember that the leak that was revealed that there was like this like complicated web of creation and myths and stuff, and not a single fraction of that shows up in the game. You remember that? Yeah. I think Game Freak kind of doesn't want you to know about that. Or whoever you want to call it, Game Freak and John Nintendo, whatever. They don't want you to really think about that too much, I don't think. So like, I have a decent lore-ish explanation for everything. Like explaining the universe. And it is a little wacky. But one of the ideas that comes from it is the idea of that there is ultimately oh no, oops. Could be like an explanation for everything, but I don't know how much I want to actually put into it in like the first game. If I say first game as if I'm anywhere near ready to make a second game, but like the idea is I don't want to overwhelm people with a bunch of nonsense. But I do like me some lore though. That's why I'm like, I used to be a big fan of game theory back in the day. So like I used to really like me a bunch of lore content. And it's such a shame that MatPat died. Because you know he died, and it's such a shame because he made really good content, and yeah, you just don't see that. Like you see a lot of lore videos stuff. Cause I think that's why I like Warhammer 40k a lot too. I've read the books, or not all of them, of course, because there's a billion Warhammer 40k books, and I don't have that much time to read anymore. It feels like I'm quite busy a lot of days. I also, even if I had more time to read, I'd have to like only read Warhammer 40k, and that's done for a number of months to get all the books out. They release new books all the time, and some of the books also just don't interest me. Controversial statement, but I enjoy the concept of like lore, and even if and what I want to do is kind of lean a little bit though more into I have been reading a little bit, although this isn't a perfect example, but like some of the old masters, Clark Ashton Smith, his work I have been reading, and let me tell you, absolutely magnificent prose. Just fantastic prose. and I mean, people, might call it, I don't know, flowery, I guess. But it's still good. It's very well written. I enjoy it deeply. Need to just... There we go. I just need to highlight the rows. I'm working on it. And it's really well written, right? And you don't see a lot of that as much anymore. And that's not to be too mean about like modern writers and stuff, but I do want to lean into where there's clearly a certain amount of continuity in like his how do you put it? His Zothique books. There's like continuity and to a degree. There is definitely a consistent set of themes, right? And you can piece together lore. Same thing kind of with Lovecraft. You can piece together a consistent-ish universal lore. But there's still questions that go left unanswered, even if I think sometimes there might be more answers if you delve into like his work or into like his notes. But it requires a bit of delving and a bit of interpretation, and I like that. And so I want the background fluff to be a little bit like that, not quite eldritch, but a little opaque and a little interesting. And yeah, a little eldritch too. Even I'll even throw in a little bit of eldritch into it. I have a concept for a distinctively eldritch effect to it. In fact, we have the cosmic type, and that's not directly related. But cosmic actually emerged as an amalgam of a original cosmic type, in my idea, because cosmic as well as an eldritch typing. I nearly kept eldritch and merged it the other way around, but I merged eldritch into the cosmic. The cosmic type is so it's meant to be invoking not just how to put it, not just your like cosmological stuff, meteors and space aliens and so forth, but a little bit of that cosmic horror things. I don't want to confirm any of the critters I have outlined, and that's one thing actually. I have been saying critter a lot, and that's deliberately. What did I skip? That's deliberate. This is electric. I screwed up. Ace and plant. So I am deliberately invoking critter here. Oh, so I have the Stellaris OST in the background, and we've triggered the Bow Country song. But yeah, no, why do you have to tab out? Or when I click off, why do you have to deselect? He just I got an idea, actually. No, that won't work. Problem. I'll just have to be careful. I was hoping to improve it a little bit for myself. I also have to keep taking it slow and keep rambling as I'm working. So one of the... I forgot what I was saying again. Yeah, I won't spoil too many creatures or anything, though. I am going to say something. A hint of what is in development. I am, however, commissioning the first piece of art from a very lovely artist. They've been very kind so far. I don't know how much I'm supposed to say. I've never commissioned art before, so I'm not going to say an official thing about it. Oh, did I screw up midway through? I think I did. Oops. So 5, 1, 2, 1. Yeah. Bug is 2. Then beast spirit 1 metal. Yes. Let's make so. Didn't even notice my error until, or I thought I was working in electric. I switched over midway through. Good. But yes. So anyway, plant. I've commissioned an artist. They've been very lovely. And I'm going to have my first creature. Oh, yes, creature. I've been referring to them as critters or creatures in the code. The reason for it is I'm a little paranoid at the moment, being very early into setting everything up, that I don't want to reveal too many like names and stuff for everything until I have like a proper write-up for it. 1, everything else. Okay. Forgot plant. I did that with plant. I had just like a huge amount of 1s at the end because I'm boring. I didn't want to say too much because I want to have a bit more of a write-up talking about the whole game concept, what it is, what it's based on, Because obviously this is I think I've said it. I've said it multiple times. This is going to be a Pokemon inspired video game, specifically inspired off of Generations 3 to 5, my favorite set of the generations. So it's going to be very overt in its, and you could say cribbing. I am, in a sense, I am kind of feeling a little bit. I'll fess up to to being a bit of a no good, lousy thief. One, two, one. That I did steal a little bit of my. I mean, I say lousy thief 112. That's definitely going to be the wrong terminology. But it's gonna. I mean, I'm wearing my inspiration on my sleeve. I have no problem admitting I am doing that. I'm trying to be original design-wise, critically, for my creatures, and that's never gonna happen properly. But like, it's like I commissioned. To give you a bit of perspective, I did commission as the artist. I commissioned for the art. I commissioned. Where are they out of sync? Yes, electric, poison. No, seems right. Yes, right. Cosmic crystal. Cosmic and crystal point. Sound 1, 2. Anyway, I commissioned a Fakemon artist, for example. And the reason, kind of my motivation, I want to make a Pokemon game. Originally, I was going to make a fan game. There's an RPG Maker assets for making a Pokemon fan game that has like all of the Pokemon, up to Gen 9 in it, and it's already pixel art, and it's really cool, and it works really well, etc., etc. Well, that's cool. It's very cool. It's very cool, and I thoroughly recommend it. I thoroughly recommend it to anyone who wants to make a Pokemon fan game, because I owned RPG Maker too. When I was in high school, I used to play around with making a game, like making games and fan games and stuff. And I don't know, I never made it too far. I never really had any of them that were up and running. A lot of my projects, like in high school and like college and so forth, before I kind of slowed down. I personally, I made my mistake. So like through college down to recently, I had a lot of projects I would work on for a while. I would even sometimes post them online. And then what happened is I would run out of steam, or life would get in the way, and so I would drop them. I'm definitely, that's me working on this. I definitely have worries. My plan is, like, this is the first time I've done something like trying to do this process and so forth, but I have a life outside of everything. So I find I am oftentimes, I'm not a diehard like scream or die or creative or die type person. I do what I do for the love of the game and very, very little else. So what happens is that if it doesn't work out, I'm not bothered by it. It doesn't bother me that nothing happened because I wasn't going in with high hopes. But anyway, I've been getting older. I've been getting a little better at working on projects. And so my goal to continue with this one all the way through. But yeah, the original early draft had been Pokemon fan game using the RPG Maker stuff. And I learned a decent amount. I don't know if I like RPG Maker because correction, it's not that I don't like RPG Maker, it's that when I was just using pre-made assets, it was pretty easy, but it felt limiting. An RPG Maker, I think, would be less nice than just using Game Maker, which is why I switched over. From my memories of what I did with them, I think if I'm making something on my own, I need to learn, I need to figure out everything, because the important thing is is the learning part of it, right? If that makes any sense. And Spirit Airlines, let's go, baby. I do appreciate that this is going to be by far the longest piece of code I have, and it's literally just a nightmare block of things. My really big fear is that by doing all this, I've made a gross error, and it's going to be when I get it to launch, it's gonna be laggy. It's gonna take too long, and I'm gonna have to redo everything. But we'll find out, won't we? One Poison, one electric. Anyway, yeah, the original idea, Pokemon fan game, like I've said this a bunch, but I realized that wasn't going to be practicable, and also, there is something else to be said about Nintendo being relatively litigious. So, like, one of the fears, working on a Pokemon fan game would be, I get halfway done, I release, I have a beta version going, it's going well, and then suddenly Nintendo drops in the big fat, you're infringing on our copyright, which, yes, technically I would be, but, you have to stop or else we're going to take legal action against you. And it's like, yeah, Nintendo is in their rights to do that, and I understand. I'm actually probably more understanding of that than a decent number of people you see online. And I don't mean that as a slight to anyone. Make that very clear. I don't mean that as a slight. I just it's just that Nintendo, a lot of people seem to treat it as kind of more of a personal thing than Nintendo is. Nintendo's a big faceless corporation ran by people who want to make money. So they have to do, well, they don't have to, but they do what they do on that basis. They're out to make money, they're not out to make friends. So they'll, you know, copy strike things into oblivion. And part of that too, I think, also has partially to do with like Japanese culture is a little different when, like, on their mentality towards copyright. Um, um, they view copyright a little differently. They certainly seem to care about it. I mean, some companies in America, like Disney, are obviously very copyright caring, but like, you know, in America, there's a bit more, I think, like fair use, and fan works are generally, I think, more tolerated here in America, whereas like the Japanese copyright system and their companies are a little more stringent. Anyway, the point is, like, doing it and then having the fear of the thought of, well, I'm working on the clock where my work could at any moment be upended, and then poof, I'm you know, I'm out of time, and I can't do anything with it anymore, and or like, because the people who would be hosting it are taking it down. And so it's like, oh, you know, it's kind of not worth it, right? Like, obviously for some people it is, and I salute those people. I've enjoyed some Pokemon fan games in my time. Let me tell you what. I say that, and then they're like, "Oh, name one," and I'm like, "Buggered if I can," because I have a terrible memory for like 90% things. I've played a lot of ROMs too, and those are muddling in my head. But I have like I played PokeClicker and PokeRogue, and I enjoyed those. For example, those are really fun. There's a couple of like classical style Pokemon games, like where they're like the Pokemon gameplay, like just normal, and I played those and they're fun. Oh, and I really enjoy Cobblemon from Minecraft. I I actually had to restart recently because I broke my original install and it corrupted my world. And so I had to. It was a little frustrating. I didn't keep backups. I've learned that mistake. But the point is, like, I've greatly enjoyed Pokemon. I enjoy it as a fan. I don't like, however, a lot of the modern direction that Pokemon's going in. And you could say I'm old boomer. You know, I'm UNC status by now, and I'm washed. Which in a sense I am. No, it's not. Bug. In a sense, yes, but I enjoy a specific subset of the Pokemon games. So, like, I enjoy the experience given by, like, the creature collector. Actually, I kind of enjoy collecting in general. In games, you put me in. I've been addicted to gacha games for this very reason. But yeah, I enjoy those like early games a lot more than I would the modern 3D games, with critical exception, Legends of Arceus. I greatly enjoyed Legends of Arceus. I thought if Legends of Arceus was the direction that the 3D games went, I would still kind of be sad for missing some of the old stuff, but I would be a lot more positively inclined. But the thing is, right, like, Legends of Arceus is... I understand the limitations of the 3DS. You couldn't do that on the 3DS. And X and Y were fine. I played them. They're where I kind of When X and Y came out was about the time I started getting to like the real world and having to, manage my own stuff. So like that was kind of the limit for a long time of, I couldn't afford a Switch realistically. I couldn't afford a Switch, and I couldn't afford games, and so I didn't buy Sun and Moon. So I like Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. I'll admit I'm a hater, but I haven't played the as much. Like I played a little bit of the 3DS games, so there's a limitation there. They couldn't have done like Legends of Arceus style game for couldn't have done Legends of Arceus style game for for that gen. With those, but when the Switch came around, like Gen 8 and Gen 9 should have been Legends of Arceus shouldn't have been a spinoff. That should have been obviously with tweaks, right? Like Legends of Arceus is how the first open world Pokemon game should have been. And then it should have been refined from there. And what seems to have happened, although again, I'm kind of gathering information from like watching playthroughs. I haven't actually experienced the Switch games myself, aside from Arceus. Because the only reason I experienced Arceus is because I emulated it after I played it on a friend's Switch. Got really addicted to it, and then because I was able to play it for a while while he was because we had like different work schedules at the time, and I was living with him. So I was able to play on his Switch when I would get home from work. Anyway, when we had more overlapping schedules, I started emulating Arceus, and let me tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I 1,000,000% fell in love with the game. It's not meant for mouse and keyboard, like it's not set up to do mouse and keyboard, but 1,000,000% if Nintendo released like a port of Arceus for mouse and keyboard, that would be like the best Pokemon game. Anyway, so it's like I love the games, and I'm actually sympathetic to a lot of the designs that people seem to dislike heavily sometimes. I unironically like Clink and Trubbish and Vanillutte because I am a slop enjoyer. But I still kind of like I've been disappointed, seeing secondhand the new games, and I realized the new games like sell better than any of the old games, right? Like I would still say my favorite games Black and White. Games are Black and White. I don't know about Black and White 2. I didn't actually buy Black and White 2. So I've only played, and I haven't even played them emulated, because I'm a fake fan. That was not synth. I don't know why I wrote Crystal. Because I don't even have the... I figured out how to hide. I don't even have the Crystal one open now. I only had the synth row open. Anyway. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so like, I'm a fake fan. I never actually played through Black and White 2, so I can't speak for that one. But my favorite still is Black and White. I actually appreciated the idea of a new region with new Pokemon and like whole new index, like whole new Pokedex. You didn't have any returning until getting. I am like the only person on God's green earth that I'm aware of that actually thought that gimmick was good. Triple battles was not a good gimmick. I will not defend triple battles, but I will unironically, unironically, I will, I will unironically defend, that, because I am a unrepentant black and white fan. I actually liked it. I don't know what it was. It was a really fun concept, and as someone who didn't, I kind of like had some idea of what was coming because I did follow the news for certain Pokemon, but like I pre-ordered Black and White. I got, that was like the peak of my Pokemon fandom. I pre-ordered Platinum too. I remember that. I was a little too young to have Diamond and Pearl pre-ordered, but I saved up my money to get the pre-order of Platinum, and I don't remember what happened to my Giratina statue. But I had that for a really long time, and I still have Platinum somewhere in my box with all my gaming stuff. Thing is, I don't play on any original hardware anymore. I have my original hardware. They're a little battered and worn, but the thing is, right, is like emulation is a lot more convenient for me these days because cracking out the original hardware and being old, the tiny screens on those and like the small buttons. I don't have big hands, but those are still small devices. When like, because I was looking at them recently, and I actually played a little bit of my original copy of Leaf Green, and I was like, these are small. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I've ever mentioned this. In case anybody's wondering, I have like 400 flags downloaded into a folder that I think are neat, because among other interests that I have, I actually really enjoy flag design, and I collect flags. I say I collect, I have stopped purchasing them because I've run out of room. I have like 2 big containers full of them, and I have them on the walls and stuff, and I collect them, and so because I have my desktop open, I have, this is, I think, the Luhansk province in Russia? Don't quote me on that. I'd have to look at the actual name. But you can see I have a wallpaper folder, and it rotates every hour, the flag, because I'm a dweeb. Russia has an institution of, I think Russia. You can feel the old Russian authoritarian mindset coming out at times. Okay, so I've done all that, but you can feel like some of the authoritarianism coming out in Russia. I think I need to make a new object. In things like they have a SPR _ battle control. They have a institution that runs flags and heraldry in Russia. since the fall of the Soviet Union, because the old Soviet Union had flags for each of the constituent republics, and they all looked terrible. I know it's a hot take because there's still people who really like the hammer and sickle, but I think the hammer and sickle is actually a really bad design. And I know I'm going to have people fundamentally disagree with that. The kind of the rules of vexillology you sometimes see posted, and that you see a lot on like the subreddit r/vexillology, which I don't use Reddit anymore, but you see that like mentality on Reddit a lot of times. Because we're gonna want to create object battle controller. You still see that on like Reddit. Like they use the rules very religiously. The Soviet flag technically follows the rules, but I fundamentally disagree with their implementation. And specifically, I don't like the Soviet flag. I've seen the red and gold. I think it's just, I know the symbolism behind it. I know the point of the symbolism behind it. I know the point of the symbolism and everything, but I don't like how, it's funny, I don't like how red it is. Flags that are one big sheet of color with only a little symbol, I think, are not the best design. The symbol needs to either be a little bigger, or you need to do something else to kind of break it up a little bit. And that's a controversial statement, I think. So I think the Soviet flag doesn't have good design to begin with, and then the Soviet republics, the SSRs, all have their own flags. And those flags, all are derivatives of the Soviet flag, and I think most people agree that they don't look very good. I think as a design pattern, it kind of works like what they're doing. The big failure of Soviet design for their flags was they kind of, like, they were all meant to be, of course, similar, but they kind of did weird little choices, and I don't understand why. Sometimes. So stats, right? Creature stats. So creature stats, HP, attack, defense, comma. I forgot what I was going for. Oh yeah, Russian flag design. So like the Soviet flags all screwed, like, were not good and terrible, and had a lot of weirdness to them. But generally, most areas in the Soviet Union didn't have their own flag. Speed, agility. We'll just call it agility. And then energy. Anyway, they didn't have a good they didn't have a good set of flags when they started. So when the Soviet Union fell, like, they readopted the Russian tricolor, which has its own interesting history. Oh, I need to get rid of that comma. Then add the comma. It has an interesting history. And I don't want to go like too detailed into it. But one of the things that Russia did is they set up a I forget what it's called, but like a heraldic organization. My understanding, at least, Russia has like a central body that approves heraldry and disapproves heraldry, or sets standards at least. And because Russia is kind of an authoritarian dictatorship, it so we're going to what we're going to do is we're going to create a subset of variables. So we're going to have. So I don't think this is necessarily the proper way, you could say, quote unquote, of doing this, but my idea is to have it where, I know, because I think there's a way to poll between variables, but I figure if I just set up a bajillion global variables, set everything to it, and then read from there, the system will work, even if it's a little janky. Creature. So what we're going to do is we're going to have every one of these stats correspond to a stat up here. But yeah, so like they have like a group or a body that monitors it, and so what happens is they hold like a lot of them to standards, and which you don't see in as many organizations around the world, like in as many countries. The consequence of this is that Russia actually has some really well designed flags as a consequence thereof, and I rather like them. And it's one of the things that, even though, you know, you could say it, like, say what you will about Russia, like with that, it's like I appreciate that, and I rather like their designs. I have a few in my collection. I have, and some of them, of course, end up kind of weird. There's one, a city in, it's somewhere in the middle of Siberia, and their flag has a rectangle on it because it's the bar of soap. Because it's a bar of soap, or soap or something, because they make soap, I think. And I also appreciate that because it's funny. Future. Power. So we're also going to have the move. Right, so because we need to define moves and types. So. Oh yeah, and oh, I hit something. Oh, okay. Uh-oh. I did something wrong. Anyway, I have a lot of games. Don't mind me. But yeah, so oh, why are you in rooms? Create group. Anyway. 400. Holy cow. I'll have to fix all that someday. Yeah, let's look at the types actually. Let's just command name is _b. I didn't do underscores anywhere though. Is it only for this, or is it? do we have that in other things? We can do that though, I guess. Roll F A. Forward only. Should. Anyway. Oh. Oh right, this is in read only. How to oh, why are you in read only? Okay, so let me exit. Okay. Yes. Launch it again. But yeah, I hope it's one of those things. Look here for help desk article. That didn't pull up anything. Build. The hell? Game Maker project read only. And runtime. One second, I'm gonna hiding my display so I can open up some stuff. Oh, did I get kicked out? Is that the problem? No. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Got logged out, I think is what it seems to have been. So I have to log back in. Crumbs. Sorry about this, everybody. Yes, it's me. Yeah. We will never sign in successfully. Now then. And how to get project out of project tools. From project out of read only. Exit. Exit. This really sucks. Guess I didn't update. Wait, try updating. I'm crashing out, everybody. I'm crashing out. Okay. Update available master. But I'm running the most up to date version, ain't I? Project been loaded in read-only mode. That's... Why are you doing that? Our game is playing. Why? This isn't in Stellaris, is it? Oh. It's in the Stellaris playlist, so I guess I'm putting up with it. No. Oh, this makes me really mad. Game options. General gem code. Fix. System. This is bad. Oh. Well, this isn't how I wanted to end my frickin'. This isn't how I wanted to end my stream, but looks like I'm ending it now because I gotta keep digging. Thank you all for watching, if anyone did. Here.